So the next question. The next question is, which is the correct statement about the proton? Okay. So the statement is, proton is the nucleus of a deuterium. Now, what is a proton actually? Let's see. Now, what is deuterium? Deuterium is D2. What is it actually? Now, hydrogen contains what? One proton and one electron. Okay. So deuterium is an isotope of hydrogen. What are isotopes? Isotopes have same atomic number but different atomic mass number. So what is deuterium? Deuterium contains, so this contains one proton, one neutron and one electron. So what is the atomic weight of deuterium? Deuterium has 2, one proton plus one neutron, and the atomic weight is 1, the number of protons or electrons. The third isotope of hydrogen is tritium. So tritium has what? One proton. See, in all these, one proton is constant. This has 0 neutron, this has 1 neutron, this has 2 neutrons and 1 electron. So the total weight is 3 and the atomic weight is 1. So these are the 3 isotopes of hydrogen. This is 1, 1. Okay. Now what they have asked? They have asked, proton is a nucleus of deuterium. So if I consider the nucleus of deuterium, what is deuterium? D. And they have just given deuterium, which I have to consider as just D. If they have given deuterium molecule, then I have to consider D2. So D is what? It contains, the nucleus of D contains what? One proton and one neutron. So is the nucleus of deuterium just the proton? No. It is proton plus neutron. So this is not the right answer. The next is, proton is alpha particle. Now what is an alpha particle? Alpha particle is a helium nucleus. So what is helium? Helium has 2 protons, then atom right next after hydrogen. So after hydrogen we have helium. So it has 2 protons, 2 neutrons and 2 electrons. So helium has atomic weight of 4 and atomic number of 2. Okay, so this is helium. And helium, alpha particle is what? Helium nucleus. So when we remove completely the electrons, which becomes helium 2 plus. Now helium 2 plus contains what? It still contains 2 protons and 2 neutrons. So this is not just one proton. So this is also not the proton, right? The next option is, proton is ionized hydrogen molecule. Now what is hydrogen molecule? H2. Ionized hydrogen molecule is what? One electron is removed. So hydrogen contains what? Hydrogen one atom and hydrogen other atom. Both of them have what? One electron each. Okay, and in the nucleus both of them have one proton each. Now if I remove just one electron, so what will this be? Hydrogen plus 1. So what does this have? This has that one electron and each of the hydrogens have one proton each. Okay. So ionized hydrogen is also not the proton. What is the next option? Proton is ionized hydrogen atom. Now what is hydrogen atom? Just H. Now hydrogen contains what? One proton and one electron. So if I ionize hydrogen, what will this become? Hydrogen plus. So hydrogen plus is what? Just one proton. And one proton is what? The actual proton which we were speaking about in the question. So proton is ionized hydrogen atom. So option D is what? The right answer. Next, assuming full decomposition, what the volume of carbon dioxide did at STP on heating 9.85 gram of barium carbonate. So what is the relation equation first? Barium carbonate, when we heat this, similarly to calcium carbonate, this gives us barium oxide plus carbon dioxide. Now how much barium carbonate are we heating? It is 9.85 grams. And also the molecular weight of barium carbonate is given, which is, the atomic mass of barium is just given, which is 137. So barium atomic mass is 137. So if you see, the higher atomic masses are given. It is not expected that you remember such high atomic masses. Carbon is 12 and 3 oxygen is 16. So if I find the total atomic weight, comes out to be 197. Okay, so 197 grams. So if I had molecular weight of barium carbonate, which is 197 grams, this will release 22.4 liters of carbon dioxide. Now if I have 9.85 grams, this will release how much volume? Okay, so this is 9.85 into 22.4 upon 197. So, and also to decimal shifted. So 1.12 liters is X. So the answer is option D. Right? So let's start with the next question. The question is number of equivalents of Na2S2O3 required for the volumetric estimation of one equivalent of copper 2 plus. So what is the reaction? So this is Na2S2O3. Now this initially reacts with iodine to form Na2S4O6 plus NaI. Okay. So since there are two iodines, so this will be 2 NaI and this would be also 2. Okay, so this is a balanced equation. Now what they have said, now this NaI, so we have 2 NaI plus copper. So we use copper to find iodine. So this forms copper I2. Okay, so there are 2 iodine. So there are 2 iodine. So this is a balanced equation. Now what I have to find? I have to find out the number of equivalents of Na2S2O3 required for the volumetric estimation of one equivalent of copper 2 plus. So what I have to do is, now this should be one equivalent. Okay, so I can see from the stoichiometry or from the balanced chemical equation, one equivalent is reacting with 2 equivalents of NaI. Okay, but I have to find the relation between this and this. So if this is reacting with 2 equivalents of NaI, 2 equivalents of NaI is formed from what? 2 equivalents of Na2S2O3. So for one equivalent, how much do we need? We need 2 equivalents of Na2S2O3. So the right answer is option B, which is 2 equivalents. Okay. Next question is, in a mole of water vapors at STP, the volume actually occupied or taken by the molecules is. Okay. Now this is in terms of percentage. Now if you see, now what is it actually asked? By one molecule, how much is the volume occupied? One molecule of water. Now if you see any number of molecules, which is what? 6.023 into 10 to the power 23 molecules occupy how much? 22.4 decimeter cube. Actually imagine such a big number. There are so many molecules which are occupying how much? 22.4 liters. Okay. Then what I have to find out? The volume of one molecule. So if these many molecules occupy 22.4 decimeter cube, how much would one molecule occupy? So one molecule would be, the volume of one molecule would be X. So let's find out. So this would be 22.4 into 1 upon 6.023 into 10 to the power 23. Okay, so this would come out to be the volume. Okay. Now let's keep the equation till here and let's see what are the options. Now the first option is 0. See, if I actually divide these two, so if I take this as 6, so something 3 point is a value into 10 to the power minus 23 into 10 to the power minus 23. Is this a number equal to 0? No. This is a very small number but not equal to 0. So the first option is not the right answer. Now let's see at the second option, less than 1% of 22.4 liters. Now let's see what is 1% of 22.4 liters. So if I have to find out 1%, 22.4 into 1%, which is 1 upon 100. So this will come out to be what? 0.224 liters. So if one molecule has to occupy a volume of 0.224, one molecule has to occupy a volume of 0.224 liters. If one molecule has to occupy 1%, then it would be what? 0.224 liters. But one molecule is actually how much occupying? One molecule is occupying even less than that, 3 point something into 10 to the power minus 23. So what does this mean actually? This means that we have so many zeros. We have 23 zeros and then we have a 3 number. Okay, so this number is very small than 0.224 liter. So this is 1%. Okay, this number is less than 1%. Do you agree with this? So the second option is right, less than 1% of 22.4 liters. Then about 10% is a very large volume. So one molecule will not occupy such large volumes. Between 1 to 2%, no. We have already found out that this is less than 1%. Okay. So option B is the right answer. Next question. The question is an organic compound occupies 49.3% of carbon. So what is given? 49.3% of carbon and 6.84% of hydrogen. Okay, so if you remember the percentage composition which I had solved, so this is a question related to that, and its vapor density is given. So vapor density is equal to 73. And then what is the molecular formula of the compound? So there is one important formula that you need to remember. Molecular formula is what? 2 into vapor density. Okay, so this is an important formula. Now this is used very extensively. Okay, now if I want to find out the molecular formula, or not molecular formula, this is actually molecular mass. Okay, so molecular mass is 2 into vapor density. So if I have to find molecular mass, I can get an approximate value. So this will be 2 into 73. Not approximate, I will get an equal value, but then this will also help me a lot. So 146 is the actual molecular mass. Now from this percentages, what I can do is I can also find the actual values of carbon and hydrogen. Now let's find out. So if it is 49.3%, what I have told you, percentage always convert into gram. So 49.3 is gram. Then 6.84 is in grams. Okay, of hydrogen. So this is carbon, this is hydrogen. The remaining, see, this doesn't turn up to 100%. So there is something remaining. We can see from the options there is also oxygen. So oxygen is the remaining percentage. Okay, so we can add oxygen also. So if we add these two, what will we get? 49.3 and 6.84. So this comes out to be 56.14. So I'll have to subtract from 100 56.14. So this comes out to be 43.86. Okay. So 43.86 is the percentage, or 43.86 is the percentage of oxygen, or 43.86 grams out of 100 grams is oxygen. Okay. Now what I can do is I can just from the molecular formula try to find out what could be the molecular masses. Now let's say if I take the first one, so what it is, C3H5O2, right? Now I'll find out the molecular mass of this. Okay, so the molecular mass will turn out to be 3 carbons, so 12 threes is what? 36, 5 hydrogens, and 16 into 2 is 32 oxygen. Okay, so this comes out to be 73. So 73 is half of 146. I have to find the molecular formula to be 146. So let's check at B. See the you know the molecular formula which are given are very far apart from each other. So even if I have C3H10O2, which is the C part, so what it is 5 hydrogens more than the A part. So even if I add 5, then this is not coming out to 146. So C is also not the option, A is also not the option. Let's check B. B is C6H10O4. Okay. So what is it? 12 into 6 is 72. Then 10 hydrogen and 16 into 4. So it is 2 times of 32. Right? So this comes out to be 146. So if you see from the options, we have the B option to be the right answer. So the answer from the options we see that the answer is B. Okay. Let's look at the next question. The next question says, in the following reaction, which choice has twice that of equivalent mass of the oxidizing agent? Okay. So equivalent mass, right? Now we have to find the equivalent mass of the oxidizing agent first. What is the reaction? It is SO2. Oxidizing agent is what? The one which that itself reduces. Okay. So the one itself which reduces helps others oxidize. So which helps others oxidize is called as oxidizing agent. Agent who is doing a work of agency, which is a middleman person. Okay. So if other some species has to get oxidized, so this is what this species will get reduced. Now here, if I see the sulfur, what is the oxidation state? Now oxygen is -2, so 2 oxygen would be -4. So sulfur is what? +4. Okay, so sulfur is +4. Here H plus is what? +1, and water is oxygen is -1. Here sulfur is in elemental state, so the oxidation state is 0, and here it is +1 and -2. So if you see from +4, it has gone to 0. Okay, so there is a reduction. Okay, the reduction is what? Reduce, which is an oxidizing agent. So there is a loss of, there is a gain of electrons. So since it has gained electron, this has got reduced. The other species has got oxidized. Okay. So what I have to find out, which choice has twice that of the equivalent mass of the oxidizing agent. So I have to find out the equivalent mass. What is the formula for equivalent mass? Equivalent mass is molecular mass. If you remember, for oxidizing and reducing agent, it was the change in the oxidation state. Okay. So change in the oxidation state. So if it goes from +4 to 0, so the change is what? 4 minus 0, which is 0. What is the molecular mass of the species? The molecular mass is sulfur is 32 and 2 oxygen is also 32. So this is 64. Okay. So the molecular mass is 64 upon change is 4. So this comes out to be 16. Okay. So 16 is the equivalent mass of SO2 in this reaction, and I have to find out which value is twice that of the equivalent mass. So what is the twice value of 16, which is 32. So which is the right answer? Option B is the right answer. Okay. Let's get into the next question. Let's look at the next question. The question says, the vapor density of a gas is 22. What is the molecular mass? So this is quite simple. It is only based on the formula. So molecular mass is what? 2 into vapor density. So this comes out to be 2 into 22, which is 44. Okay. So which is the right option? C. Let's look at the next question. So the empirical formula of an acid is CH2O2. The probable molecular formula of the acid may be. Okay. So CH2O2 is the empirical formula. Right. Now I have to see if I have the empirical formula, I know even for the molecular formula the ratio would remain same. So carbon is to hydrogen is to oxygen would be what? 1 is to 2 is to 2. Even in the molecular formula. So I have to check for that molecular formula whether this ratio is maintained. Now let's look at the first option. What is it? CH2O. CH2O. So this ratio is what? 1 is to 2 is to 1. It is not equal to this ratio, so this is not the answer. Next is CH2O2. CH2O2 has the same ratio, so CH2O2 1 is to 2 is to 2. So this is the same molecular, this has the same ratio, so this is the answer. Let's look at the other options also. C2H4O2. So C2H4O2. Now this is what? 2 is to 4 is to 2. If I take a simplified ratio, this comes out to be 1, this 2, and this is 1. So this is 1 is to 2 is to 1. This is not equal to 1 is to 2 is to 2. This is also not the option. And last is C3H6O4. So this is what? 3 is to 6 is to 4. I cannot divide this further, but this is also not the option. So the correct option is what? Option B. Next question. If 1.5 mole of oxygen combined with magnesium to form oxide MgO, the mass of magnesium that has combined is, right? Now first look at the equation. What is it? Magnesium has to combine with oxygen, and this will give what? Magnesium oxide. Okay. Now first I have to balance the equation. Okay, so this is the balanced equation. Now what is it asked? It is asked that how much of it will react? 1.5 mole of oxygen is combining. Okay. What could be the mass of magnesium that is combined? So mole versus mass. Now if you see from the stoichiometry, so 2 moles of magnesium. What is 1 mole of magnesium? 1 mole of magnesium is 24 grams of magnesium. It is given in the question. So 2 moles will be what? 48 grams. So 48 grams will combine with what? 32. Or what I have to find out, what is the relation? It is between moles. So 48 grams of magnesium combines with 1 mole of oxygen. So the given is 1.5 moles. So 1.5 moles will combine with what? So we have to just do cross multiplication. So this is 48 into 1.5 upon 1. Okay. So this is a simple multiplication. So this comes out to be 72. Okay, so the answer is 72 grams, which is option E. Let's look at the next question. Now the mass of 112 centimeter of methane gas at STP is. Okay, so now I have to compare volume with mass. Now if you know at STP 22.4 decimeter cube is how much for methane? It is 16 grams. You should know the molecular masses by now. Now 112 centimeter cube. So first I'll have to equalize the units. This should also be decimeter cube. So what can I write? 112 into 10 to the power minus 3 decimeter cube. Now this combines with how much? This is equal to how much weight? Okay, so just a cross multiplication. So if I shift the decimal, so this comes out to be 1 upon 2, which is 0.5 into 10 to the power minus 3 plus 1. So this becomes minus 2 into 16. Okay. Now if I have to write this, sorry, this comes out to be 8. Okay. Now if I have to write this, I have to remove the 10 to the power minus 2. What I'll do, I'll shift the zeros by 2 units. Okay. So this comes out to be what? 0.08 grams. Right. So which is the option? This is option C. Look at the next question. The question says the vapor density of a gas is 22, what is the molecular mass? So this is quite simple. It is only based on the formula. So molecular mass is what? 2 into vapor density. So this comes out to be 2 into 22, which is 44. Okay. So which is the right option? C. Let's look at the next question. So the empirical formula of an acid is CH2O2. The probable molecular formula of the acid may be. Okay. So CH2O2 is the empirical formula. Right. Now I have to see if I have the empirical formula, I know even for the molecular formula the ratio would remain same. So carbon is to hydrogen is to oxygen would be what? 1 is to 2 is to 2. Even in the molecular formula. So I have to check for that molecular formula whether this ratio is maintained. Now let's look at the first option. What is it? CH2O. CH2O. So this ratio is what? 1 is to 2 is to 1. It is not equal to this ratio. So this is not the answer. Next is CH2O2. CH2O2 has the same ratio. So CH2O2 1 is to 2 is to 2. So this is the same molecular, this has the same ratio. So this is the answer. Let's look at the other options also. C2H4O2. So C2H4O2. Now this is what? 2 is to 4 is to 2. If I take a simplified ratio, this comes out to be 1, this 2 and this is 1. So this is 1 is to 2 is to 1. This is not equal to 1 is to 2 is to 2. This is also not the option. And last is C3H6O4. So this is what? 3 is to 6 is to 4. I cannot divide this further, but this is also not the option. So the correct option is what? Option B. Next question. If 1.5 gram of 1.5 mole of oxygen combined with magnesium to form oxide MgO, the mass of magnesium that has combined is, right? Now first look at the equation. What is it? Magnesium has to combine with oxygen and this will give what? Magnesium oxide. Okay. Now first I'll have to balance the equation. Okay, so this is the balanced equation. Now what is it asked? It is asked that how much of it will react? 1.5 gram of mole of oxygen is combining. Okay. What could be the mass of magnesium that is combined? So mole versus mass. Now if you see from the stoichiometry, so 2 moles of magnesium. What is 1 mole of magnesium? 1 mole of magnesium is 24 grams of magnesium. It is given in the question. So 2 moles will be what? 48 grams. So 48 grams will combine with what? 32. Or what I have to find out, what is the relation? It is between moles. So 48 grams of magnesium combines with 1 mole of oxygen. So the given is 1.5 moles. So 1.5 moles will combine with what? So we have to just do cross multiplication. So this is 48 into 1.5 upon 1. Okay. So this is a simple multiplication. So this comes out to be 72. Okay, so the answer is 72 grams, which is option E. Let's look at the next question. Now the mass of 112 centimeter of methane gas at STP is. Okay, so now I have to compare volume with mass. Now if you know at STP 22.4 decimeter cube is how much for methane? It is 16 grams. You should know the molecular masses by now. Now 112 centimeter cube. So first I'll have to equalize the units. This should also be decimeter cube. So what can I write? 112 into 10 to the power minus 3 decimeter cube. Now this combines with how much? This is equal to how much weight? Okay. So just a cross multiplication. shift the decimal. So this comes out to be 1 upon 2, which is 0.5 into 10 to the power minus 3 plus 1. So this becomes minus 2 into 16. Okay. Now if I have to write this, sorry, this comes out to be 8. Okay. Now if I have to write this, I have to remove the 10 to the power minus 2. What I'll do, I'll shift the zeros by 2 units. Okay. So this comes out to be what? 0.08 grams. Right. So which is the option? This is option C. Next, water to be added to 100 centimeter cube of 0.5 normal NH2SO4 to get a decinormal solution. Now what is decinormal first? Decinormal is 0.1 normal. Now there is a very famous dilution equation which is used, which is what? N1 V1 upon N1 is equal to N2 V2 upon N2. Now I'll explain you the terms. Now first let's look at the equation. What is the equation? It is just what I have a 0.5, I have a 100 ml of 0.5 normal solution of NH2SO4. Now I have to reduce from 0.5 to 0.1, so there is a dilution in it. So what will be the extra water that I am adding? So this is the question. Okay. So when there is no reaction, so N1 and N2 do not appear in that. When it is just dilution, then N1 and N2 do not appear. When there is a reaction, these come out. We also have a question on this. We'll see that. Okay. Now what is N1 and V1? It is the initial normality and initial volume. This is the final normality and final volume. So initial, if I had 100, how much water will I add to get a final volume of something? So this is V1 and N2 is the final normality. Okay. Now what happens is, now why are we doing this multiplication? N1 into V1 is equal to N2 into V2. This is final. So see. Now what is normality? Normality is number of moles or number of equivalents upon volume, right? So whatever be the volume of the solution, whatever be its normality, the number of moles are going to remain same. Now let's say, suppose if I have 5 grams of a substance which is added in water. Now I add it in let's say 100 centimeter cube of water, or I add in 1000 centimeter cube, the 5 gram will remain same. Even though it will disperse more in larger volume, but the amount will remain same, the amount is not going to change. Same is the thing with number of moles. Even if we add more water or less water, the number of moles are going to remain same. So that is why the initial number of moles is equal to final number of moles. So this is what we are doing. N into V is number of moles. So initially number of moles and final will remain same. So using this equation, we are trying to find out the final normality. So what is the initial normality? Initial is 0.5, and what is the volume? Volume is 100. Now what is final normality? Final is 0.1 decinormal into the final volume is what I have to find. Now V2 would be what? 0.5 into 100 upon 0.1. So just shift this. So this becomes 5 into 100, which is 500. So if you think that 500 is the answer, no. So if you would be thinking that 500 is the answer, no. Now if you see 500 is the final volume of water. Okay. So if you understand that what is this actually? This is 100 ml. So initially it was filled with 100 ml. Here let's say it is 100 ml of water, and we had 0.1 normal of the solution. Now what they are saying, now the final volume is 500. Okay, so now this total is 500. Okay, but what the question says the volume of water to be added to 100 centimeter cube. So the final volume is 500, but what volume we are adding to make it 500? So we are adding extra 400 volume, if you understand. So if this is full 500, so the extra that we are adding is 400. So this is the volume of water that has to be added to get a 0.1 decimal solution. So 500 is not the answer. So answer is what? V2 minus V1 is equal to 500 minus 400, which is equal to 100. So this is the final answer. 500 minus 100, which is equal to 400. So this is the final answer. So this is the amount of water that we have to add. What is the option? The option is A. Okay. Next question is, now the calcium, reaction of calcium with water is represented by the equation. So whatever is the equation, have a habit to always write the equation down first. So calcium plus water gives us calcium hydroxide plus hydrogen is reduced. Now what volume of hydrogen, so is this a balance equation? No. This is a balance equation. So 2 and 2, 4 and 2 oxygen, yeah, it is a balanced equation. Now what volume of hydrogen in STP would be liberated when 8 gram of calcium completely reacts with water? Okay, so again this is what? Weight versus volume. So 8 gram is reacting with water, 8 gram of calcium. Okay, so if you see the stoichiometry of hydrogen and calcium, it is 1:1, right? So if calcium, I know what is the molecular weight. So for 8 gram I have to find out what? The volume. Now calcium I know is its molecular weight is 40. So 40 gram, if it reacts, how much will it give? It should give 1 mole of hydrogen, okay? But then they recombine, and what do we get in terms of volume? It gives us 11.2 decimeter cube of hydrogen. Okay, so when 40 grams of calcium is completely reacted, this much amount, 11.2 decimeter cube of hydrogen is evolved. Now if 8 gram is reacted, so what would be the answer? So it would be 8 into 11.2 upon 40. So just solve this. So this is the answer. So it is 2.25 decimeter cube. Okay, but the answer is given in what? Centimeter cube. So to convert decimeter cube into centimeter cube, we will have to multiply by 10 to the power 3. So this becomes what? 2250 centimeter cube. So which is the answer? Is it 225 or 224? Sorry, it is 4. So it is 4. So the answer is option B. Okay, let's look at the next question. Now the question says, which of the following pairs illustrates the law of multiple proportion? Now what was multiple proportions? Multiple proportion says that there are two elements which are forming the same compound. Okay, there are two elements which are forming two different compounds. Okay, so the one which is not constant will have a definite ratio. So I had given you an example of carbon monoxide and carbon dioxide. So multiple proportions, there are multiple different proportions of which they are reacting. So from the word you should understand. So two elements are forming two different compounds. The one which remains constant, we don't have to see that. The one which is changing, we have to see that. That bears a simple numerical ratio. So oxygen is to O2. What is it? 16 is to 32. So by weight, they bear a simple numerical ratio of 1:2. Right? Now, which of the following will pair shows the law of multiple proportions? Now, what we have to see, what is the condition for multiple proportions? The elements in the compound should be same. Okay. So, which of this gives? Now, let's see first one. NH3 and HCl. Are the elements same? No. Hydrogen is same, but the other is nitrogen and chlorine. So, this is not the answer. H2S and SO2. This is also not the answer. SS is same, but hydrogen and oxygen are different. The other is copper oxide, cupric oxide and cuprous oxide. So this is actually the answer, because there are same elements and they are forming under two different ratios. What is constant? Oxygen is constant and this part is varying. So what is the answer? C. Okay. The other two also do not have the same elements. Okay. Let's look at the other questions. What does it say? There is a mixture of what? Sand and sulfur. Now sulfur is what? S, and sand is what? Sulfur dioxide. Okay. Now, how can these two be separated? Now, what is the first option? Fractional crystallization from aqueous solution. So, if their solubility is different in aqueous solution, then we can separate them out by fractional crystallization. So, this is not possible. Actually, they are both, the solubility of both in aqueous solution is very low. Magnetic method, both are diamagnetic. So magnetic method wants one of them to be ferromagnetic. So there should be some metals which should be involved for magnetic separation, and that also those metals should be ferromagnetic. Then fractional distillation. So for fractional distillation, we generally want what the boiling or the melting point should have very small differences, which we think in this case we cannot apply them. Generally, they are used for liquids. Okay, then sublimation, none of these is sublime, and dissolving in CS2 and filtering. So CS2 is a liquid. Okay, so what we can understand from this, in CS2, sulfur will definitely have more solubility, and then when we filter it out, we can get the others. We can separate both. Okay, so yes, D is the right answer. Okay, sorry, E. The option is E. E is the right answer. Look at the next question. The question is, the modern atomic scale is based on. See, initially I told you it was based on hydrogen, but then with hydrogen we were not getting exact values. So what was a modern modern atomic weight scale based on? It was based on carbon 12. If you remember, 1/12 of the carbon 12 which we were discussing. So what is the right answer? It is E. Okay. So next question, differences. Right. No. Let's look at the next question. A mixture of sand and iodine can be separated by. So again, what is it? Sand. Sand is what? SO2, and iodine is what? I2. Now remember, you will have to remember these things, that iodine, NH4Cl, naphthalene, these are what? They sublime. Okay, at room temperature they can directly be converted from solid to gaseous, and they are sublime. So if we have iodine, what we can do is we can heat the solution. Since iodine being sublime, it will form vapors and then settle at the corners of the conical flask, if you remember. So how can we separate them? We can separate them by sublimation. So what is the right option? B. Let's look at the next question. Now the question says, irrespective of the source, pure sample of water always yields 88.9% mass of oxygen and 11.11% mass of hydrogen. This is explained by the law of. So irrespective of the source, always the percentage of hydrogen is to percentage of oxygen in what? In water from any source is constant. Take this water from India, take this water from US, from anywhere, the percentage or ratio of hydrogen is to oxygen always remains constant. So which law best explains this? This is explained by the constant composition, because in conservation of mass we actually need something, there should be some chemical or physical reaction taking place, and then we can say the total mass of the reactant is equal to total mass of the products. So this is not the case. Constant composition is the answer. Okay, so at any place, irrespective of the source, the composition is constant, right? And the other are also not the right answers. Now the next question is, how many atoms are contained in 1 mole of sucrose? Now atoms, see again, we have asked atoms and not molecules. So in 1 mole of sucrose, what are the number of atoms? So if we see what is sucrose, C12H22O11. Okay, so what we have to do, we have to find out the number of atoms. So what it would be? 12. In one molecule, how many are the atoms? 12, 22 and 11. So if we add them, this comes out to be 45. So if there are 45 atoms in one molecule, so how many would be in 1 mole? 45 into Avogadro number. Okay. So 45 into Avogadro number is option A. So what we'll do is, so what relation I am telling? One molecule contains 45 atoms, all in total. They haven't asked any for there's not specific to be carbon, hydrogen, oxygen. All of them have to be added. So one molecule contains 45 atoms. So Avogadro number of molecules will contain how much? It will contain 45 into Avogadro number of atoms. Okay. So 45 into Avogadro number of atoms per mole is which option? Option A. Right. Next is the question. The weight of one molecule of C60H12 is. So C60H12 is the molecule, right? Now we have to find out the weight of one molecule, just one molecule. Okay. So first let's find out the molar weight. So what is it? 60 into 12. So this comes out to be 720. Okay, because 12 is atomic weight of one carbon. So 60 carbons would be 12 into 60. And plus 12 hydrogens, 732. So for one molecule, the atomic, so for this, the molecular weight is 732 grams. Okay, but 732 grams is what? The weight of Avogadro number of atoms, Avogadro number of molecules, I would say. So what would be the weight of one molecule? So I have to substitute here. When it comes to molecule, write the molecule here. When it comes to weight, write weight below it. So don't shuffle it. Okay. So this is a rule for cross multiplication. So what would the weight of one molecule? Let's cross multiply. 732 into 1 upon 6.02 into 10 to the power 23 is equal to x. Right. So if I divide this, if I take 10 to the power 23 term other side, 122 into 10 to the power minus 23. So, right. Now I'll have to keep this as a scientific notation. So I'll have to shift the decimals. So this becomes 1.22 into 10 to the power. Now I have reduced the number. What I'll have to do? I'll increase this. So in negative, increment means what? The decrease of the magnitude. So from 23 we'll decrease 2, which becomes, we'll increase 2 actually. So what this becomes? 23 plus 2, which is 21. So the closest option is, if you see D. We have to also look at the power, raised to power. So the answer is option D. Let's solve the next question. Number of atoms in 558 gram of Fe would be. Okay. Now first we'll have to find out the number of atoms in this much weight, and then we'll have to compare with the options. Now the atomic weight of Fe is what? 55.85. Okay. So now what do I have to do? I have to compare the number of atoms with the weight. Okay. So 55.85 grams, how much? So this contains how many number of atoms? Avogadro number of atoms of Fe. Okay. Then what is the next thing that is asked for? 558.5. So if you see, they are multiplied by 10. So how many atoms will it contain? 6.02 into 10 to the power 23. See, from 55.85 this becomes 558.85. So if you multiply this by 10, this is what you get. So when you multiply this by 10, then also you will get the same. So keep that correspondence in mind. So if you multiply this by 10, so this would be what? 6.023 into 10 to the power 24. Okay, now we have to see which of these would possess same. Now the first is twice that in 60 gram carbon. Now what will be 60 gram carbon? So 12 gram carbon contains how much? 6.02 into 10 to the power 23. So twice of 60 gram is what? 120 gram. So how much would 120 gram contain? So 120 gram, again see, from 12 we are going to increasing to 10. So this would be also what? Increasing to 10. So 6.02 into 10 to the power 23 into 10, which is 6.02 into 10 to the power 24. Right? So this is also the same number of atoms. This is also same. So the right answer is what? Option A. Okay. Now the next question is, accurate determination of atomic masses is done with an instrument called. So very accurate determination of atomic masses can be done with what? Mass spectrometer. Mass spectrometer is what helped us to find out the weight of mass of C12 carbon, and from that we could divide that by 1/12. Okay, so mass spectrometer is used. Then spectrophotometer, no, it uses light as a source, so atomic masses cannot be determined from that. Atomic absorption spectrometer tells us about what atom it is, but it does not tell us about the weight of that substance. Calorimeter uses heat and tells us how much the heat is changed in a particular change, a physical or a chemical change. So that is not also the answer. Colorimeter also tells us about how much light is being absorbed by a substance. So it does not gives us the weight. Okay. Now the next question is also, so what is the answer for the next option question? The answer is what? B. Okay. The next question is to differentiate between C12, C13 and C14, the instrument that you would use. Now we have to differentiate between the same atom based on their weights. Okay, C12 and C13 and C14 will have different weights because the number of neutrons is different in all these three. Okay, they are all three carbon, but the number of neutrons keeps on increasing. So to differentiate between weights, we'll have to find out the weights. Okay, if I know the particular weights of these three atoms, I can tell that these three are I can differentiate them. So again, what I can use? I can use a mass spectrometer. So for this also, this is the answer. Okay. Now the question is 32 grams of oxygen, 2 grams of hydrogen, and 28 grams of nitrogen. So these are conditions at what? STP. So these occupy a volume of separately. Each separately will occupy a volume of. Now if you see 32 is actually the molecular weight of oxygen, 2 gram is a molecular weight of hydrogen. For single oxygen it is 16, but oxygen diatomic is 32. Similarly for hydrogen and same for nitrogen. So I had told you if it is 16 gram of oxygen, this will occupy how much? 11.2 decimeter cube, because this is a diatomic. So they will form dimers and the volume reduces to half. But then if I take double the weight, 32 grams of oxygen, this will occupy 22.4. Similarly would be the case with the other two. So therefore what would be the answer? Each will occupy a weight of 22.4 and therefore the answer would be option C. Okay. Next. Now 0.56 gram of a gas occupies 280 centimeter cube at NTP. Then its molecular mass is. Okay. So what is it given? 0.56 grams occupies 280 centimeter cube. So whenever it is given in centimeter cube, make sure you convert it into decimeter cube. Now this is so what I can do with this, I can actually find out the molecular mass at STP. So at STP is 22.4 decimeter cube. At 22.4 decimeter cube, what would be the mass? The mass that I will get would be the molar mass of the substance, right? So yeah, I can find it's the molecular mass. So what I have to do, I have to do cross multiplication. 0.56 into 22.4 upon 280 into 10 to the power minus 3. Right? So this is what? 0.56 into 0.08. And 10 to the power minus 3, it goes as 10 to the power 3. And this 10 is also divided, so 0.08. So 10 to the power 3, right? So I have to just multiply 56 and 8. So this comes out to be 448. Now look at the decimals. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3, and then after one more, this is 4. And into 10 to the power 3. Now multiply by 3, 1, 2, 3. So this comes out to be 44.8. Okay. So the correct answer is option B. Next question. So the equivalent mass of Fe in FeO is. Okay. So I have told you in any ion ionic solids, if I want to find the equivalent mass is what? The molecular mass upon the total positive charge. Now how much is the positive charge on FeO? Fe and FeO, this is +2 and this is -2. So the charge is +2. What is the molecular mass of Fe? The molecular mass is 56 and divided by 2, so this is 28. So equivalent weight is 28. So the right answer is option B. Okay. Which of the following is ambiguous? Right. So this is a very important question, although very basic but important. Ambiguous means what? We do not have a very right answer about it. It can be this or this. Okay, so it is not a very finite, definite statement. So A moles of electrons. So we know that there are some A moles of electrons. That is definite. E moles of sodium atoms. Sodium atoms. So they have specified sodium atoms. So that is also definite. A moles of potassium ions. Now here they have used potassium ions. So that is also fine. And A mole of hydrogen. Now with hydrogen, why there is an ambiguity? Hydrogen could be what? Hydrogen can be atom or hydrogen can be molecule. So they haven't mentioned A moles of hydrogen atom or A moles of hydrogen molecule. So there is an ambiguity. We are not very sure about which type of hydrogen is. So therefore the answer for this question is option D. Right? Next is chemical equations convey quantitative information on the. Now if there is any chemical equation that we write. So I have not written right now, but I have written many equations till now. So any chemical equations, what do they actually convey? The numbers which are there in front of those equations. So if you see the types of atoms and molecules taking part in the reaction, it does, but this is not a very right statement to say. Types of atoms and molecules. They are just reacting. It is a compound, it is reacting with other compounds. So that is not a chemical reaction, is what actually giving us information. Number of atoms and molecules of the reactants and products in the involved in the reaction. So it is not number of atoms, if we could say. Now we can calculate from them what would be the number of atoms if we know what is the weight that is taken. Is it taken the molar weight of the substances, reactants, or is it some other weight, like let's say 1 gram, 2 gram? Then we can find out the number of atoms or molecules. So just from the chemical equation, we cannot find that. Relative number of moles of reactants and products involved in the reaction? Yes. Just from looking at the equation, we can know how much amount of reactant is taken and how much product is formed. So we can know the relative amounts of moles of reactants and products. So C is the right answer. And quantity of reactant consumed and quantity of product involved? No. This is what we can find only when we have with the chemical reaction, we have other information like how much amount of reactant is taken or what amount of product is evolved. So some of information of these can help us to find out the quantity of the reactant, okay, or the product. So answer, what is the next? Right answer is option C. Right? Now the next question is, So the next question is what? 1 mole of fluorine is reacted with 2 moles of hot concentrated KOH. So what I have to do, as I listen about the reaction, I'll first write what the reaction is. So 1 mole of fluorine reacts with 2 moles of hot concentrated KOH. The products formed, they have also given the products. What are the products formed? The products are KF, H2O, and the third product is what? O2. Okay. So what they have asked, the molar ratio of KF, H2O and O2 are. So we have to balance the equation and find out what would be the molar ratio. Now if you could see, there are 2 potassium ions here, but there is 1. So this would become 2. Now fluorine is 2 here, fluorine is 2 here. So fluorine and potassium are balanced. Let's look at other. Now there are 2 hydrogen atoms. So this is also balanced. Now there are 2 oxygen atoms and there are 3 oxygen atoms. So what we want 2. Now here this hydrogen is balanced. We cannot do anything with this. We can change this. Now if I want just 2, I'll have to make this as 1. So if this is 1, this is 1, this total becomes 2. How can I make this as 1? I will divide this by half. Right? So half of O2 would be what? Just one oxygen. So oxygen plus oxygen gives us 2 oxygen, and on the reactant also there are 2 oxygen atoms. So the equation is balanced. So what is the ratio? 2:1. Here we have 1:half. Okay. So if we look at the options, what are the options given? So the options are 1:1:2. No, this is not the option. 2:1:0.5. Yes. So 2:1:half can be written as 0.5. So it is the right answer, option B. Okay. Now let's look at the next question. So right. So the next question is 0.078 gram of hydrocarbon occupies 22.4 ml of volume. So 0.078 gram occupies how much? 22.414 ml. Okay. Now wherever we are given this relation, directly find at STP conditions what could be the relations. So if this is in ml, we have to convert this into liters. So what it would be? 0.078 grams occupies how much? 22.414 into 10 to the power minus 3 decimeter cube. So how much molar mass would be for 22 decimeter cube? So 22 decimeter cube is the standard which is occupied by molar mass of the substance. So I can find from this the molar mass, which is X. So 0.078 into 22.414 upon 22.414 into 10 to the power minus 3. So these will get cancelled. So this becomes 0.078 into 10 to the power 3. So if I multiply this 3, this becomes 78. So I know that the molar mass is 78. And the empirical formula is also known, which is CH. The ratio by carbon of oxygen is 1:1. Okay. Now if you see, the empirical formula is followed in all of them. All of them have a ratio of 1:1. Okay. So I have to find which of them has a molecular formula of 78. So if I take the first one, C2H2. So C2H2 has a molecular formula of what? 12 into 2 is 24 and 2, which is 26. So this is not the answer. If I take C6H6, so this is what? 12 into 6, which is 72, plus 6, which is 78. So this is the molar mass, and this is what we got from the equations. So what is the answer? The answer is option B. Okay. Now, so this is a very interesting question. Now what is given in Haber's process? 30 liter of dihydrogen, 30 liter of dinitrogen were taken for the reaction. So hydrogen, first write the Haber's process. What is it? Hydrogen plus nitrogen giving us what? Ammonia. So this is an equilibrium reaction. So let's first balance out the reaction. So this is the final balanced equation. Now what they are saying that 30 liter is taken. So total volume of this is 30 liter, and how much this is taken? 30 liter. And only 50% of it yielded the product. Now we'll have to first see what is the limiting and what is the excess reagent. Now if you see, for the ratio of volumes should be 3:1. Okay, but the ratio is what? 1:1. So if this is 30, how much of this should be needed? 3 times of 30, which is 90. But 90 is not given, it is given 30. So hydrogen is what? Hydrogen is limiting. Okay. So if this is 30, so 1/3 of this will react. So not 30 will react. What would react? 1/3 of this, 10 would react. So if 30 liter of hydrogen is taken, only 10 liter would of it react. Okay. To give us what? How much? 20 liter. Because this is what? The ratio is 2. So if this is 1, this is 2. So if this is 10 liters, so this would be 20 liters. Okay. Now, but it is given that 50% of the expected product. So expected product is 20 liter is what we assume, but is what we expect from the equation. But 50% of the expected product means what? Only 10 liter is formed. Okay. Then accordingly we'll have to see how much is the reactant. So if this was 20 liter and this was 10, this has a ratio of what? See, the ratios are what? 3:1:2. Now if this is 10, this would be what? Half of it, because from 20 it was 10, so from 10 it would be what? 5. Okay. And this is what? This is 1:3 ratio. So this was what? 3 times of this. So this is 5, this is what? 15. Okay. So what has reacted actually? Not 30, but only 15 has reacted. Not 10, but only 5 has reacted and given us 10. Right? Now they have asked what will be the composition of the gaseous mixture under these conditions. Okay. Now this has what is reacted. So 15 plus 5 has reacted. So this is gone and this is given as this 10 liter of product. Okay. So we know that the product is 10 liter. Now we'll see what is remaining. So if you see, 30 was not completely reacting, only 10 was actually reacting. Okay. From that also 10 also didn't react, only 5 reacted. So if you see what is remaining, so from 10 if only 5 has reacted, what is remaining? 5 from this. Okay. And initially also from where did this 10 come from? From this 30. So from 30 if I take out 10, how much is remaining? 20. So 20 is remaining from here, and from this if we remove 5, so 5 is also remaining. So how much? 5 plus 20, so how much is remaining? 25. Now if you see here, from 30, 15 has reacted. So how much is remaining? Only 15. And initially also it was 30, so all of 30 is taken out. So it's not that from this also some part is remaining, no. So 15 is for hydrogen, 25 is for nitrogen, and 10 is for ammonia. So if you see which is the option, so C is the option. Okay, so C is the right answer. Now, next question. So the question says a signature written with carbon pencil weighs 1 milligram. So with carbon pencil is a signature written. So what would the signature contain? All of the signature would only be carbon, right? Now it is 1 milligram. What is the number of carbons present in the signature? So we are asked number of atoms. So from weight we have to have a relation with number of atoms. So if we know that 12 grams of carbon has how many atoms? 6.023 into 10 to the power 23 atoms of carbon. Now if it is 1 milligram, so it is not 1 gram, 1 milligram. So 1 milligram is what? 1 into 10 to the power minus 3 grams. So this will contain how much? So this is 1 into 10 to the power minus 3 into 6.023 into 10 to the power 23 divided by 12. Okay, this would be x. So 6 ones are 6 twos are. So 1 upon 2 is 0.5 into 10 to the power minus 3 into 10 to the power 23. So this comes out what? 23 minus 3, 20. So this is 0.5 into 10 to the power 20. Now let's look at the options. So we have to write in scientific, no, not necessary actually. B option is the option which gives us this value. So B is the right answer. The equivalent weight of a certain trivalent element is 20. So the element is what? Trivalent. So they have given the valency, it is trivalent. So for it, equivalent weight is what? Equivalent weight is given is 20. Now we know what is the formula for equivalent weight. Equivalent weight is molecular weight or molecular mass upon the valency. Now the valency is given as 3. Equivalent weight is also given as 20. So molecular mass is not given and valency is 3. So what would be molecular mass? Molecular mass would be 20 into 3, which is 60. We know the molecular mass. Now molecular weight of its oxide is, okay. Now how would the oxide form? Oxide would be what? Let's say M is the element. It is a trivalent element. So let's say I will give you an example of trivalent atom like aluminium. Aluminium is trivalent. So how does it form an oxide? Oxide would be what? So whenever it is any substance that is forming, we write the valencies below and then we just cross multiply. So what it would form? Al2O3. Okay. So trivalent element is, this is what the oxide is formed. So it would be N2O3. Okay. Now we have to find what? The weight of, molecular weight of this oxide. Now I know molecular mass of one atom is 16. So for 2 atoms it would be what? 120. And for 3 oxygens it would be what? 16 each. Okay. So this is would be the answer. So answer is what? Option B. Okay. So now I have solved these questions. I will give you some more questions for practice, and maybe I'll add with the PDF of the description, or I'll give you separately. And I want you to solve these questions and then get back to me with whatever doubts you have. Okay. So this was all about this chapter, and from next video we'll start with a new chapter. Okay. So thank you.